Coming up on No Pulp, it's January, which means it's all about college hoops. And the number one team in the land, Johnny, has gone down. We'll tell you about it, and we'll tell you who should be on top.
Not only the number one team in the land, but the blue blood in Kansas. What the heck is going on with Bill Self's crew? 3 losses this week.
And we got a plethora of women's basketball coverage as well. Who's good? Who's not? Who's winning? Who's losing? We'll tell you that and a whole lot more. A basketball edition of No Pulp starts right now.
Spikes. Sonny DeShero from Auburn.
The freshman never win. The freshman never win championships.
Chairman, you are an absolute sweat.
Cleveland the catch. Good if it goes. Oh, he hit it.
Wow, it is getting serious.
Frankly, I'm pretty embarrassed.
Bang!
All day like
Welcome on. No Pulp time. Johnny Gadamowitz. I'm Calvin Christoforo. Hey, Johnny, you ever been at home really hungry, searching for something to eat? You open up the pantry and bang, there's something you didn't know you had in there, but you really want to eat it?
I'm hoping that happens to me tonight when I get home.
That, my friend, is called a home surprise. A good home surprise. But you know what's a bad home surprise?
What's that?
Unranked Temple coming into your building and taking you down. That's exactly what happened to the Houston Cougars, the number one team in the country, shocked by the Owls of inner city Philly. Johnny, what happened and what is going on down in Texas?
Well, Calvin, I'll start with something simple.
Okay,
they call them free throws for a reason.
What's that?
They are free,
Fair.
Meaning you do not need to do much to earn them. Temple took advantage of their free throws. 20 of 22 from the line. The Cougars, on the other hand, the supposed number one team in the nation, 52% from the charity stripe. You can't win basketball games that way. And oh yeah, Temple holding the Cougars to just 33% from the field and 9 total assists on the night. Where's the ball movement? Kelvin Sampson's squad is in some real trouble.
You can play Temple, you can play Toledo, you can play Lindenwood. If you score 55 points, it's going to be really tough to win basketball games. Houston loses for just the first time in American play this season. In the conference of teams ranked very high, comes into high contention, especially when you're talking about Gonzaga's struggles in the tournament, playing in the West Coast Conference. Is Houston, a mid-major conference, going to hurt Houston when it comes tournament time?
I don't think it will hurt them in terms of the seeding. I think they're still a number one seed type team.
Okay.
It hasn't hurt Gonzaga over the past few years as far as garnering that nod. I do think it does hurt them, though, when push comes to shove and you're playing tournament games. We all know how you got to be hot at the right time. All you got to do is get in. But when you're not seeing the caliber of opponents that you have, like ACC teams, like SEC teams, like Big Ten teams, that's going to hurt the Cougars.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and I've said it for a long time now. Gonzaga needs to play in the Pac-12 or they're not going to win anything. Same thing with Houston. It's really tough, though, with football and stuff like that. But right now, Johnny, quickly, your number one team in the country now that Houston goes down.
I think it's Alabama. I think
Really?
there's a conversation to be had, whether it's Bama, whether it's Purdue, a 1A, 1B type situation. But I'm going to go with Alabama. Third toughest schedule. Purdue, on the other hand, they're in the 40s. Bama's going up against the cream of the crop in the SEC. I think they're number one, although you could really take your pick.
Yeah, I disagree
Everyone
with
after
you.
them is well beneath them.
You look at Purdue, and you look at a guy in the middle that's 7'4". Zach Edey
How
is
many
an
times am I
absolute
going to hear
monster.
about 7 feet?
Look, you know why? Because they don't teach it. You can't teach 7'4". Okay, so I can tell you that until I'm blue in the face because 7'4" is 7'4". And look, Purdue, a ton of wins this season against ranked opponents. You look at Gonzaga by 18, Duke, Ohio State. Purdue's my number one team in the land. And I do think, end of the day, rankings aside, throw them out the window, the Big Ten, tougher regular season conference than the SEC.
I would be a very rich man if I heard how many times Zach Edey was 7'4" and had $1 for it.
Well, it's true.
I'm getting sick
He's
of it.
7'4" and you're not.
Let's move
so,
over
yeah.
to Allen Fieldhouse, where things really haven't been all sunshine and rainbows for the Jayhawks, Calvin. Kansas loses 3 times this week. Kansas State, TCU, now Baylor most recently. What the heck has gone wrong for Bill Self's crew?
Ready for this? I'm going to do a classic twist and spin, okay? We talk Houston, we talk the American Conference. They're just playing a normal regular season slate in the best college basketball conference in America, the Big 12, and they have to go to battle every single night. These losing streaks, now 3 in a row, are going to happen. You know why? Because the Big 12 has 6 of its 10 teams ranked in the top 25, and in this 3-game losing streak for Kansas, all 3 of those squads have been ranked. So Kansas, just playing really good teams night in and night out, they're bound to drop some.
And a lot of really ugly takeaways from that game against TCU over the weekend. The Horned Frogs, 55% from the field. You can't allow that sort of percentage from an opposing defensive standpoint. Not only that, Calvin, this was a game that never got to single digits once TCU got going. Kansas not even close, and they were honestly outworked. 19 fast break points for TCU. Got out in the open court. They ran, and Kansas couldn't keep up with it. Now, I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with this based on your answer to the previous question. Is this more a product of Kansas's struggles, or is it just a loaded Big 12?
The Big 12 is absolutely loaded. Yeah. I mean, you just saw what we showed you. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. And Kansas State, who is now creeping up to potentially being the favorite to win the conference, got 12 first-place votes in the preseason poll, last in the Big 12 preseason bowl. This team in this conference loaded. Kansas going to run into some bumps because they're playing beasts every night.
6 teams in the AP top 25 as well. Yeah, it is absolutely a loaded Big 12. And I think Kansas is a team that is going to learn that the hard way. I mean, you think about back-to-back losses, and even the wins, they've been close, not blowouts. So a lot to worry about for Jayhawk fans.
So I'm pushing the panic button on Houston, not so much Kansas.
Okay.
Let's flip to the women's side of things, because the ACC is the conference to talk about in women's hoops.
The place to be.
Last week, number 17 Carolina took down number 13 Duke in what was a packed Carmichael Arena, adding to the hype of what is an already extremely loaded ACC.
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of conference, and this game really just exemplifies the fact that anybody can beat anybody.
Yes.
And sure, it's going to be crowded towards the top, and I do think Duke, Carolina, and Notre Dame have put themselves on a plateau that some of the other squads in the conference just are not there yet. Those are my 3, if you're asking me. But I just think it's any given night, anyone can. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Tech?
I've liked what I've seen from Duke, UNC, and Notre Dame a little more than the NC States and Louisvilles of the world. I really have.
My team's Virginia Tech, and they're still trying to figure it out because they've had a lot of good transfers coming in. But Taylor Soule, you remember the name?
Yep.
You think Taylor Soule? You think Boston College? Because, no pun intended, she's been the heart and soul of Boston College over the past couple of seasons. But Taylor Soule combined with Liz Kitley, the reigning ACC Player of the Year in Virginia Tech. Now, I'm not saying they're the best team in the conference, but they are definitely in consideration when you look at the teams on your screen. The number 12 team in the land, Virginia Tech, they are in my conversation. And the fact that a team in North Carolina that's just 4-3 in the ACC is in your top 3, and my Hokies aren't, kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Okay, but who's the best?
Now you're asking me to pick my favorite child.
I am.
I said I wasn't going to.
I'd like you to.
I said I wasn't going to commit to it, but I will. Okay, I'll take Virginia Tech. I just think they are loaded top to bottom. When you got 2 superstars in Kitley and Soule that can take you home any given night. If one of them has an off night, the other one can pick you up.
Yeah, I do like the star power. For me, it's Notre Dame. I think this is a Notre Dame squad that obviously has the pedigree. The resume is there. It's a team that just year in, year out competes. But as we mentioned, it really is an ACC where anybody can beat
Olivia
anybody.
Miles, Hooper
to say the least.
She is a dog.
Yep. Well, let's hit on Oklahoma now because, Calvin, they have taken the Big 12 by storm, really surging through this month of January. On the year, only 2 losses for OU, who appears to be at the forefront of, again, we talk about loaded conferences, the Big 12 right there as well.
I don't love the Big 12 on the women's side as much as I do on the men's side, because I think when you're talking women's hoops, it's the ACC, it's the Big 10,
and then everybody else.
Yes, and you got Stanford out west, right? You got Utah, who's having a really good season. UCLA, a surprise team out of the Pac-12. But this Oklahoma team is starting to try to get into that conversation more and more because they can score the basketball like anybody else in the country. 87% 7 points per night. That is third in the land. They can put the ball in the hoop, and we both know the purpose of the game, score more points than the other team does.
I think this team can win the Big 12. I really do. My question is, does it translate over to NCAA tournament play? And the reason I say that is because this team got smoked by Utah earlier in the year. I'm talking giving up 124 points. Even in their other loss to Baylor, you give up 81. Not as egregious, but the common denominator is that the defense has really struggled. They've taken care of the teams that they're supposed to beat, but when you go up against those tougher foes, it's been more of an issue.
Well, here's the thing. Look at your screen right now. And the points they give up, even in wins, 79, 79,
That's a real issue.
74. Like, they have to score their 87 points tonight to win basketball games. That's where I'm a little fishy, because they're doing this against teams in a Big 12 that, like I said,
that's what worries me. They haven't played the cream of the crop yet.
The third, fourth best Power 5 conference. I don't know about their long-term future. But hey, I do know this. Our long-term future is just in the short term, and short term, it's getting really fun. When we come back on No Pulp, we are just getting started. Ben Spector, all 6'8" of them, joins the Juicer to battle Johnny Gadamowitz about some college basketball. And you are not going to want to miss that on the other side.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed.
I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it.
I just want my family to be safe.
But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Welcome back, my dearest friends. We are now at the wall with Ben Spector to do the Juicer. Welcome back into No Pulp. Johnny Gadamowitz, Calvin Christoforo, the aforementioned 6'8" Ben Spector, who's, let me see your wrists for a second.
Yep.
Are these red? Dunking. He's been dunking all morning. His wrists are sore, but that doesn't matter because all he has to do is answer my questions better than Johnny Gadamowitz. We're talking
I might be dunking
college basketball,
no shot.
and if you play well, you might be actually. I might even have a mini hoop out back you can bring back, and you can do it over him.
That's lovely.
You have to win though first, which is going to be a tall task.
That's quite the prize.
Even though you do tower over us, as Johnny and I are standing on boxes right now. But hey, we'll start with this, Johnny. On the men's side of things, men's hoops. Who is your most disappointing team in the country?
Calvin, I didn't even have to think about my answer to this question.
I'm sure
it
you
is
did.
absolutely Florida State. No doubt about it. The Seminoles started the year 1-9. 1-9.
Not good.
For a team that was picked to finish 5th in the preseason ACC poll. Not the Sun Belt, not the Colonial, not the MAC. 5th in the ACC, and they start the season 1-9. People had this team as a dark horse to win the conference. Really bad losses to Stetson, Troy, Siena. I mean, what are we doing? If you're an FSU fan, no question about it, it's the Seminoles.
Did you just throw shade on Siena?
Don't worry about that, Calvin.
Okay,
he talked about
I'm not going to.
in the ACC as if they were going to be a dark horse. How about #1 team in the country? I'm going North Carolina, same conference. Guess what? Florida State was supposed to finish 5th in the ACC. North Carolina was supposed to be the #1 team in the conference and the #1 team in the country. National championship appearance last year. You bring back 4 of 5 starters. Pete Nance, Northwestern, transfers in. Oh, he's going to put them over the top 14 points per game last year. Not. North Carolina loses. Iowa State, Indiana, Virginia Tech, the losses just piled on early, and from there the Tar Heels just did not have it. The Tar Heel family isn't looking much like a family this year, and that's the most disappointing team in the country.
Unfortunately, Ben, you ever heard of the bear trap defense?
I've heard of it.
You just fell into the bear trap.
I mean, how is
you
that
were dealt a bad hand. Johnny knows my thoughts about North Carolina and how I think the season is not over. They're just going through a rough patch. I think they're going to
rough patch are not ranked.
They're going to turn it around.
Oh my
Who's not going to turn it around? Florida State. Way more disappointing. Johnny goes up 1-0. But Ben, I'll let you get back into the game potentially if you answer this question better. We'll flip it. Women's side, most disappointing team.
Most disappointing team, I'm staying in the ACC. I'm going with the Louisville Cardinals. Look, they were supposed to be the #7 team in the country. Preseason rankings right there. Final 4 team last year. The Naismith Award watch list. Haley Van Lith is back there. You get Kristlyn Carr from Syracuse, but then you lose to South Dakota State. You lose to Gonzaga. The battle for Atlantis absolutely killed you. Then you lose to Middle Tennessee State. What's going on with Louisville? A perennial team that makes it far in the tournament, and the Cardinals just don't win anything. They look sloppy, even though they have multiple starters back. Morgan Jones, Olivia Cochran, not stepping up for the Cardinals, and that's why Louisville's the most disappointing team.
You want to talk perennial program, perennial powerhouse?
I think he does.
Let's go Texas. The Longhorns are a squad that have really underwhelmed all season. They started the year borderline top 10, even top 5 team, and it just hasn't gone according to plan whatsoever. Unranked in this week's AP poll, already some Big 12 losses to Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, early losses in the non-con to schools like USF and Marquette, though, in the non-con. That's a whole
South
new
Dakota
ballgame.
State and Middle Tennessee State.
They weren't supposed to lose 5 games all season. We haven't even hit the end of January, and they've done that.
The only thing disappointing here is you, Ben Spector.
Me?
How many games did Texas lose last year, Johnny? I'll answer it. 6. How many have they lost already this year?
5.
Well, we lost 7 games so far as January.
2-0 Gadamowitz.
Oh my gosh.
Chance to get back into the game, but you're running out of time. Maybe you can surprise me. Like this surprise team you think is the most surprising in men's basketball.
Oh, I'm going to the Big 12, all right? Kansas State. I know you think I'm going to say Northwestern. Really good Wildcats team in the Big 10, but Kansas State has been on fire this year, and nobody saw it coming. Keontae Johnson, 24 points in that win against Kansas. You guys were talking about it earlier in the show. He's been on fire for this Wildcats team. A slew of transfers comes in, and they weren't supposed to finish toward the top of the Big 12. Number 9 scoring defense, number 5 scoring offense in the conference, but yet Kansas State has found a way to win. They beat Texas, they beat Baylor. Sure, you lose to Butler, but at the end of the day, Kansas State has found a way to pile on wins, and that's why they're the most surprising team. Who would have thought? I know you didn't, Johnny.
Well, Ben, I'll tell you this. That's your best answer of the day. But
you think that's my best?
It's still the inferior answer. Because the answer, it's very clearly New Mexico. I think New Mexico is a team that has really surprised a lot of people in a very good way. How about them? A ranked squad coming into this week, just cracking the AP poll, and a really impressive team that has beaten some teams that they had no business beating. Already 3 quad 1 wins.
Kansas State
New Mexico. Who saw that coming?
Kansas State wasn't ranked before the season started. Now they're the number 13 team in the country.
18-2 on the year, picked to finish
number
5th
13
in the Mountain West. New Mexico's your clear-cut answer, Calvin. I think you make the right choice here.
I didn't hear a word you said because my decision was made after Ben Spector picked the only correct answer. That is the best answer of the day by far. Kansas State live. They were picked to finish last.
Yeah,
in the Big 12.
That's sales. Well, they don't even have a big man presence. All of a sudden,
New Mexico is not winning anything anytime soon. Kansas State has an opportunity to. Okay, there we go. 2-1. Our score. 1. Score left. All comes down to this, Ben Spector. Women's side, same question.
Surprising team. Surprising team. I'm going to the Big 10. I got the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm going to Columbus. Look, I understand Ohio State entered the year as a ranked team, but at the end of the day, Iowa was supposed to be better. Indiana was supposed to be better. I don't care what they did tonight. Ohio State was an undefeated team entering tonight. And at the end of the day, tonight, South Carolina was the only other undefeated team in the country at this point. It's an experienced team, second in the Big Ten in scoring offense, fourth in the conference in scoring defense. Those aren't numbers to be an undefeated team. I guess that's enough. Entering tonight, and Ohio State ends up being the most surprising team in the country. Who would have thought they'd be better than Iowa, Indiana? The Big Ten goes through Columbus.
An inferior answer once again.
You think all my answers are inferior?
We're going UCLA.
Oh my goodness.
UCLA number 8 in this week's AP poll. Guys, I don't think anyone expected the Bruins to have a number in front of their name.
You, Ben Spector?
I expected it.
Year
I expected it.
Okay. Last year, bounced in the first round of, wait for it, the NIT.
Wow.
You're going from bouncing the first round of the NIT to the number 8 team in all the land, and they're led by Charisma Osborne, 4th in the Pac-12 in scoring. She knows how to get a hoop when she needs to, and she's a big reason why the Bruins are taking the Pac-12 by storm.
Here's the issue here. Entering tonight, I was the most handsome man ever to walk into the CitrusTV studios. And then...
Might be a stretch.
Johnny Gadamowitz walked in.
Oh, my goodness.
So entering tonight means absolutely nothing. Buckeyes, losers. Tonight, Ben Spector, a loser.
That's
tonight,
ridiculous.
UCLA,
Tried.
much more
That's
surprising
ridiculous.
team. Ben Spector falls to 0-3 all time in the juicer as Gadamowitz takes this game 4-1. And no, I'm not kidding you. And that's exactly what we're going to be saying when we come back. It is back, and you are welcome. Are you kidding me? Makes its triumphant return when we come back here on No Pulp.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Hey, welcome back to No Pulp. He's Calvin. I'm Johnny. Thanks so much for being with us. Now we're going to have some fun. Calvin, what's your reaction when you drink orange juice that does have pulp in it?
Oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me. Why ruin a perfect glass to OJ?
No way! And now it's time for Are You Kidding Me? Where we're going to break down some of the wackiest stuff that occurred this past week in the world of college hoops. Calvin, the floor is yours.
All right, let's go. Women's basketball. St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies, you might know them at home as, taking on the Dayton Flyers. A couple of teams in the A-10 just trying to grab a conference win. But here's the thing. St. Bonaventure has lost 15 straight in the A-10 and 7 straight to these Dayton Flyers, but they win it. They win it at home, and you see the men's team rushing the floor. Come on, guys. Are you kidding me? Show your women's squad some respect. Of course, it's a big win, but act like you've been there before. This is a St. Bonaventure team that has much more higher aspirations than just beating Dayton at home. You don't need to embarrass them by rushing the floor on your home court against Dayton.
Fair. I hear you. I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle here for our next installment of Are You Kidding Me? We're going to go down, let's call it the Sports Center not top 10 road.
Okay. Fair.
UConn, St. John's, a little Big East hoops. Let's check out what happens here when we see a prime opportunity for a tremendous slam. Just eats the rim. Are you kidding me? Come on, that could have been something. Hassan Diarra a potential for a real posterizer, and instead all he gets is rim. Hassan, are you kidding me? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's bad. In the business of bad, they say not good. I go back to the women's side because this was a huge ending between Arkansas and Vanderbilt women's hoops. A couple of teams, another conference matchup, trying to get a win in the SEC. Vandy thinks they do it. Under 5 seconds to go, bang, a triple. But wait, watch Michaela Dickens for Arkansas from the logo, banks it in, back-to-back threes in the last 5 minutes. Are you kidding me? What a couple of shots, what a sequence, what a win for Nick Luttrell's Razorbacks.
Very impressive. Final installment of Are You Kidding Me? Let's check out Tulsa, Tulane.
The Golden Hurricane.
Two teams with the first 2 letters
Green
in
wave.
their school name, but a really intriguing ending to this game.
Matchup.
Check out Sam Griffin. He's celebrating the dub, but wait, it's not triple zeros. He picked up his pivot foot. Tulane's going to get the ball back, down by 2, a chance to win the game. Now, moral of the story, they missed a 3-pointer, but Calvin, could you imagine if you turn the ball over on a celebration travel and lose the basketball game?
If that's Johnny Gadamowitz coach team, you're never seeing the floor again.
Oh
never
my goodness.
Well, again.
Are You Kidding Me is officially back. We're closing up shop soon here on No Pulp, but we're not done just yet. When we come back, we'll check out our big games of the week and give our final words.
Almost time to go home here on No Pulp. Johnny Gadamowitz, Calvin Christoforo. But first, we have everyone's favorite segment.
It's time for the No Pulp Game of the Week.
Oh yeah, it is, and we start on the women's hoop side. Big one in the Big Ten. Number 2 Ohio State coming off a loss tonight to Caitlin Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes, taking on number 6 Indiana. Who you like?
Yeah, I think the Buckeyes are angry. I don't see a world where they lose 2 games in 1 week, especially 2 conference opponent losses in 1 week.
Disagree. Mackenzie Holmes and the Hoosiers get it done.
All right, let's flip over to the men's side. We got another big installment this weekend. We're going interconferences here. We've got Texas. We've got Tennessee in a top 10 matchup. Who do you like, Calvin?
Yeah, a couple of non-division foes playing in January.
Yeah.
Odd, but I like Tennessee. I think a lot of people wrote them off after that loss to Kentucky. They fell too far in the rankings. I like the Vols.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think this is a Tennessee squad that has a lot to prove. They appear to be getting better as the year goes on. I think it'll be a tight game, but give me the Vols as well.
Well, that brings me to my final point here on No Pulp. In ancient Rome, the Romans hated the color purple because the ingredients to make purple were so expensive that only the rich, and most times kings, were able to acquire the color. And the Romans, well, they hated kings. Flash forward now to 2023, and much like the Romans, the college basketball world hates the color purple because the kings of today around the country are back in purple. Well, sort of. I mean, how many teams really wear the color around the country? Not many, but the teams that do, Kansas State, TCU, Clemson, a little bit, are all balling and are all ranked in the top 25. So you can say whatever you want about blue bloods, but keep your eye out for those purple bloods because purple is the new, well, purple.
Moving ahead to my final word, cover your ears, Providence and Xavier fans. Big East basketball, a thing of beauty. More specifically, the Marquette Golden Eagles, a thing of beauty. The Eagles already proved they can top the Friars, an 8-point win earlier in the week. And sure, Xavier took them down amidst Marquette's toughest week of the season, just days after a gritty win over a then top 10 team in UConn. But this MU team is for real. They're #1 in adjusted offensive efficiency in the country per KenPom. Plus, they got a dog in sophomore guard Cam Jones, the breakout star. 6th in the conference in scoring. They got something special brewing in Marquette.
Well, there you have it. Things of beauty. Johnny, Marquette men's basketball, and a Ben Spector 360 windmill dunk. That's all we have on No Pulp. For Johnny Gadamowitz, I'm Calvin Christoforo. We will catch you next time.